Have you ever felt the pressure to be the very best parent you can possibly be? Or have you ever experienced that feeling of anxiety about whether or not you're doing a good enough job? If you have, then you're certainly not alone. Many of the people I work with on a daily basis are experiencing the negative effects of their own desire to be a model parent for their children. However, I'm not a parent myself, so am inevitably limited in the degree of understanding I have in this area. Fortunately, I know a man who's an expert. I'm Tim Box, and this is part 3 of my interview with hypnotherapist and child anxiety expert Howard Cooper. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you saw parts 1 and 2 of this series, you'll know all about the great advice Howard has for teaching our children a better anxiety response. But if you're a parent, you might be asking, well, what about us? What do us parents do about our anxiety? Well, don't worry, we've got you covered. Let's get into it. To discover that a lot of our concerns can be dealt with up here, rather than having to fix the world around us, I think is absolute. It's such a vital message to get out there. And, we say this all the time in our profession, but long before COVID was around, anxiety was becoming like the global pandemic that we were dealing with because of the modern world and what we ask our kids to have to confront and deal with now.
Absolutely. And I think the expectations that we have of ourselves as parents sometimes is way above what there's just, what are you doing with your kids this weekend? Oh, I'm taking them to, I think I might take them to a museum to enrich their cultural experiences. And when I was a kid, I'm not saying my parents were great, and it's not that they didn't take us anywhere, but it wasn't quite the same. We were just have to go to Great Aunt whatever and play for 4 hours in a room that you didn't want to be in, and she had no toys, and you just had to make your own stuff up. But now it's like, kid, you have to occupy them all at every single moment.
A lot of pressure, yeah.
Because as parents, we're like, what would that say about me if I'm not the best parent in the world and I haven't, making my child centric all the time? Yeah. But I think that then impacts the kids in terms of they stop being as resilient. It becomes parents' job to entertain rather than to entertain themselves. They lose a sense of creativity, and then they pick up on the angst of the parents, of self-rating.
That makes a lot.
And I think the whole thing just...
We talk about, Instagram pressure on teenagers to be perfect and to look right and all that sort of thing. But there's a lot of online pressure to be the best, most creative, most attentive parent as well. I see that a lot. I'm not even a parent. I don't come across that content much, but I see enough of it to know that there is a lot of, external outside world pressure to do that.
Absolutely. Here's a 4-hour activity you can do with your kids to handcraft a new mobile for their bedroom. And it's so much fun with the whole family, in only 5 easy steps and £7,000 in hobbycraft vouchers.
This is you're talking from bitter experience here, I can tell. Yeah.
No, not at all. I just think there is this kind of sense of we don't have to do things with them all the time. And I think the world has become a bit more child-centric in terms of parenting styles. It used to be kids are just left to their own devices.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what are we doing with them? Get them out, get them watered, educate.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because when we're talking about kids feeding off of the anxiety of the parent in terms of following their lead, when the thing we're most anxious about is how our kids are doing and how we're parenting them, it becomes another version of that anxiety loop, doesn't it?
Yes, totally. Totally. But inevitably, whenever I have kids that have anxiety or anxious tendencies, and it sounds awful, what a horrible generalization I'm about to say, but then when I meet the parents, I do have a little voice sometimes in my head that goes, right, that makes sense.
That explains it now. Yeah. I think that's very true. And I know it's a really difficult thing for parents to have to be confronted with, but it's like, you said, sort your own shit out first. And it is very true, isn't it? Your kids are going to pick up on the attitude you convey. If you're managing the challenges in life in a positive way, what's probably going to happen is your kids are going to feel safe. They're going to feel like they have, influence, and they have control over how they feel from moment to moment, no matter what the world throws at us. It's that hard thing of if we can get our stuff together so that we feel like we've got control of our own emotions, then we're very likely to pass that down to our kids in terms of the behavior they witness and how they feel.
So there was an interesting. I had a friend of mine was talking to me about the fact that their child is not particularly resilient yet, in terms of they try something, they try and have a go at something, and if they don't do it straight away, they get like really upset and really frustrated and really like, how do I deal with this? And I can't do it. I'm just a failure. Like, and they're only like 8 or 9. And we were talking about things that they could do, and they were saying they're just so worried about it, and how do I help them through it? And I was like, well, one thing is to just give them space to behave like that. Because here's the thing: if the moment they start behaving like that, we immediately swoop in and are like, no, you can't think that way, and no, we have to get you feeling better, and we have to. What they're really picking up on is the fact that we're anxious about them feeling this way.
Yeah.
So now they've got 2 issues. They've got the fact that they fail. But they've also got the fact that they don't want to disappoint mum or dad by behaving the wrong way.
Yeah, I get you.
And now it's like 2 things, and now they get really stuck because it's like, I want to have this real emotion of like, I'm frustrated, I can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not allowed to show this in case you get upset. And then the kid also feels the pressure of having to make sure the parent's okay.
I hope this video has been of value. I'll put a link to Howard's channel in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Howard's also written a children's book called The Rustle of Leaves, which I would urge any parent who wants to help their child understand and get control of anxiety to grab a copy of. It's superbly written, beautifully illustrated, and to be perfectly honest, I'd strongly recommend it for adults as well, as the message it teaches applies not just to children, but to everyone. Please let me know if you've enjoyed this series of videos with Howard by commenting down below. I feel there's so much more we could talk about, and I hope to make more content with him in the future. But that's it for now. Please hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for weekly mind management tips and anxiety advice. I'm Tim Box, Mind Coach. Always remember to be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.